Hey Ares, what's up with you? It's a nice sunny afternoon here in Vienna, Austria at my place. How is it at yours? Doesn't matter if you drank too much, it happens to everyone. Don't be so harsh to yourself about it. You will flush it out next week. Just continue with your regime and you will get back on point really quickly. So therefore, don't worry. Chinese food is always great, by the way. Here in Vienna we have those all-you-can-eat restaurants that are Chinese, and usually when the Chinese see me there, they get a headache because they know that I can eat a lot. But I like to go there, and I really eat a lot. So here, a little bit of Chinese here and there is not bad, especially if you're cheating. In Toronto, cool. Would like to see Toronto one day. Canada is definitely on my bucket list. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It happens to everybody. Just do a little bit of maybe hit cardio next week after the training, to flush the alcohol out. I'm not going to be pretend here that I'm your mother, so you know that it's not good. Not just morality wise, but bodybuilding wise, alcohol is going to fuck up the REM phase of your sleep. Not going to be able to sleep properly to recover. Okay, it how can I say, it also hits the estrogen, therefore you will be fully bloated. You might even get people who are drinking a lot. I'm not saying that you are, as I said, I don't want to pretend that I'm your mother, but you might even get a gynecomastia from it if you drink a lot. So again, try to avoid it physique wise and health wise, because it's simply not good if you're killing it in the gym, taking care what are you eating, and then fuck it up with drinking. We all been there, so I'm telling you this from the heart. It's simply not worth it on the long run. You're asking me what's my background. I look Albanian. No, actually I'm originally from Yugoslavia. That's where I was born. I wouldn't recommend that you say this to somebody else from that area. You might get a negative response, but not from me. But I'm not an Albanian, thank you anyway. Thank you, I appreciate. Linus Wilson, you're asking what is the best body fat to grow muscle for natty and enhanced. What's the best body fat? Okay, there's a little bit of... It's a really great question, by the way. The best way to grow muscles and the best body fat to have if you want to grow muscles, doesn't matter if you're enhanced or natural, is pretty low, because then your insulin sensitivity is way higher, if you understand. So I always recommend, before somebody wants to go on a cycle or to do a growing bulking, clean bulking phase, is that he lowers his body fat as much as possible. That way the protein, how to put this, is going to stick on you much easier, and your body is going to absorb it. The higher the body fat it is, the harder it is for the body. And when you lower the body fat, the body will simply crave the good nutrients. But of course, on the other side, that doesn't mean that you have to overkill yourself with dieting, so I didn't say that. I would say that you lower it down if you can to around decent 10 to 12% body fat. This is, the best balance, because it's not too low, you're not too much in the deficit, you're not starving and craving, and you're not fat. So unless until you see, visible six pack, that you look like a bodybuilder. You know what I want to say? I mean, when you see somebody that's obvious that this guy is training, the same goes to you. You have to look, like a bodybuilder, and that's the best way, to put high quality muscle mass on you. So 10-12% of body fat would be the sweet spot. Linus Wilson, do constants derail muscle gains? I'm not quite sure what the question is. If the question is doing competitive bodybuilding, body fitness, men's physique, whatever, going to postpone the muscle mass development, this is also a really good question. If you're going on the stage 10 times per year and trying to hit your peak every time, then that's of course not the best way to put high quality muscle mass, that's for sure. But then again, there were also some guys who took, let's say, 2 years off to put high quality muscle mass, and they came even worse. The advantage if you're doing the competition is, yes, you don't have a lot of time for quick clean bulk that I always recommend, but on the other side, the body absorbs everything after the contest like a sponge. You were competing, if I remember you from the last time correctly, in the men's physique, right? You were asking me about the posing. Sorry if I mixed you with somebody, it's not personal. After the contest, if you do the reverse dieting good, this is actually the window when you can put the most high quality muscle mass. If you eat shit after the contest, you can gain shit really quickly. But if you how can I say it, flood yourself with a lot of protein, meat, etc., you can put more muscle mass than in the whole year, you're in this 1 month period, than in the whole year of clean bulk, even if you're enhanced. So there is your answer. There are disadvantages and advantages. Would I recommend that somebody goes 10 times per year on the stage? No. But then again, this is the best way, again, after the contest, how to put high quality muscle mass. So if you do it properly, you can actually have a huge advantage from that. Just look at those IFBB pros from the 90s. They were competing a lot in the pro contest, and they were coming few kilograms up to 5, 6, 7 pounds heavier and better and harder every year on the stage. As far as I remember, in the early 90s, Ronnie Coleman was attending pretty much all the contests, everywhere, and he was also coming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And how else will you know what's the best for you if you want to compete, if you don't, attend those contests regularly? Yeah, you said contest prep cuts. Yes. So there is your answer. I have a preferred diet or a philosophy of dieting? Off season or pre-contest, you know? That's my question to you. I mean, because I have for both, you know. I see this lifestyle as one big diet, you know, but then again, I don't see diet as something that has, you know, just a specific period when you're supposed to do it. If you're doing this forever, I mean, as a lifestyle, then you're always dieting, you know. But there are some modifications that I do when I'm still doing when I'm not competing, and the ones that I do when I compete. I mean, is the question for pre-contest? Both maintenance and cuts. Okay, great. So this is then a specific question. Great. It's also a really good question. So, for example, the diet when I'm putting on high quality muscle mass is, you know, always a clean bulk. I mean, it wasn't always a clean bulk when I was, you know, younger. I didn't know any better. We didn't have information as we do these days. So I was taught that putting as much mass possible is the best way to grow, you know. So I was enhanced, of course, and I was eating everything, you know, a lot of protein. I would prefer that I ate more, but I didn't know any better then. Back then we thought that 200 grams of protein is more than enough, and it's not. You can go up to 3-4 grams of protein per kilogram. I mean, even 400 grams daily. And as I said, since the last 10-15 years, I always do clean bulk. That means, you know, I just take my calories are mostly high on fats, good fats, omega-3, omega-6, omega-9, yes. And I eat carbs around the training, because then I need them for the pump, and of course for the function of the heart and for the brain, etc., etc. So I go high with fats, good fats, you know, and medium with carbs. Proteins are very low. So then, you know, I maintain the pretty much visible semi-ripped physique all year around, and that way it's much easier for me to go into the proper cut phase when I'm competing, and I don't have to overkill myself by doing cardio, you know, because that was horrible when I had to drop 20-30 kilograms, 50-60 pounds by doing cardio. That was really shit. And when I start to cut, I start with carb rotations, you know, that way I cheat my body every day so that the body cannot adapt how many carbs I'm actually taking. So for example, let's say my maximum is 300 grams of carbs per day when I have a strong leg day with cardio. When I have a rest day, it's 0. When I have chest, maybe 150 grams of carbs. And I do this carb rotation. Of course, protein is always the same until I see that it's giving me results. Let's say for approximately roughly 4 weeks, because usually I always start my pre-contest 16 weeks out. And then after those 4 weeks, I would change into low carb. And that means that I'm every day, you know, going maximum up to, you know, depends. When I was smaller, I don't want to give you fake information. Let's say my minimum when I did low carb for the next 4 weeks pre-contest was 100 grams of carbs, maybe even 80 grams of carbs. Below 80, I never went below 80. It was exhausting, but it gave really good results. And then I switched to keto, you know, only with fats. So 0 carbs, only fats, just protein. I went up to even 150 grams of good fats. Of course, protein was always around 300 grams, maybe even 400 grams. And I if I didn't saw, and this is not what I recommend to you, but I'm going to tell you anyway because I want to be transparent and brutally honest. When I was not satisfied with my shape, and I honestly think that this was a mistake, I even went zero carb, zero fat in the last period, maybe for 2-3 weeks, to get this fully ripped, crispy look. I was just eating fish and green vegetables, so this was maybe carbs in some trails, only fibers. So, this is how I was ending. So I would recommend those 3 methods all the way until the contest without zero carb approach, and this gave me the best results. I would say start 16 to 20 weeks out. I mean, if you're too fat when you start, then you have to start earlier, but the key is that you find, as I said, your way how to maintain the good shape when you're doing the clean bulk in the off season, so that you don't have to kill yourself when you're preparing. That's that. Hopefully I answered your question. Virgo the Butch, hi to you too. How is it going? Linus Wilson again. The question is, do I give my clients macro targets or do I specify meals? And do I have favorite macro app? This is again a really good question. I wanted to make an episode about this, but I thought that this doesn't require an episode because it's a very specific question, and therefore it's really good. I would definitely like to answer you. First, I mean, there was a diet that was there is still now that's called If It Fits Your Macros. This was very popular. I don't know, is it still very popular? And I honestly believe that this is bullshit. It's much more important. I tried that one so that it fitted my macros. I mean, and I didn't got the best results because the body craves and needs proper nutrients, good fats, good carbs, good proteins, not only macros. Okay, so macros are important, but not as important as what are you eating. That's much more important. And it's also very important to see how you're responding to that food. I mean, there is no application that can tell you how you look and how you respond to what you eat. Do you understand? That's the most important thing. So I specify meals. That's the direct question. That's the direct answer to your question. And we would have to sit and discuss how do you respond to every nutrient and how do you look after eating that. For example, there are people who are simply, I had experience that they were, for example, responding horrible to chicken breasts, even some IFBB pros. The guy ate chicken breast, he was bloated with water, he wanted to vomit, his body simply wasn't responding good to chicken breasts or to eggs. Do you understand? So there are many factors, but I would never, just be focused on macros only. Macros mean nothing. Antoine, hi to you too. No worries, man. I understand. Thank you for your support. Virgo de Bach, the question is, what's your favorite serratus anterior exercise? I think it's a cool looking muscle, but it's not mentioning much. So I don't want to give you a bad, I have to just check it quickly. Serratus anterius. Not 100%. Virgo de Bach, the question is actually very simple to this one. Pull-ups. Pull-ups with the bar, with deep stretch, and you have to squeeze it properly when you're in the upper position because this is the back muscle, right? If we understood each other correctly. So that's the best exercise, you know, the best overall exercise for the latissimus, for the back overall, are always pull-ups. Nothing can replace the pull-ups. So therefore there is your answer. T. Shetos. The question is advice for deloads. Time to take off, go and get a pump, or just take a whole week off. But I'm going, also very good question, you know. Depends how do you feel. For example, I don't want to talk about myself, but again, I want really to understand your perspective. I'm doing bodybuilding since I'm 17, I'm 41. I never ever had a feeling that I need to deload. Do you understand? I always had to pull a break that I don't train too much because I love it. For me, this is like my church, and it's hitting my serotonin hormone, happy hormone, endorphins, dopamine. I love it, you know, but it depends. I mean, what's the reason for you? Why do you want to take off? You know, do you feel overtrained? Do you feel mentally exhausted? Do you feel physically exhausted? Do you get fed up with working out? You know, the reason is important, you know. I mean, just to go to take the pump or the whole week off. I mean, if you're mentally fed up, and this is something that I can mentally understand, but I cannot, how can I say, emotionally understand this, because I was never in that position. But if you're like mentally fed up and you're like, I really need a break of 2 weeks, then I would suggest that you don't do anything for 2 weeks, okay? Just give your head a rest. Maybe you're going through some kind of phase in your life and simply going to the gym is too much for you. You don't function, for example, like me. It's not fulfilling you. Then I would say take complete 2 weeks off, okay? If you simply feel overtrained, maybe you train like a maniac, and I give you full props and respect for that. If this is going another way around and you simply have to put manual brake on yourself and you feel that your body needs deload, it's not that you don't want, you simply feel hyper exhausted, but then again you don't want to skip the gym for those 2 weeks, then go there and do kind of light pump training, maybe with 50% of your strength capacity, okay? This is what I would recommend. So I gave you the answer for both ways. It's those claw-looking muscles on the upper side of the chest. Aha, Virgo de Bach, I thought that it's on the back because this is where the anatomy is showing. Well, for the upper side of the chest, you really have to, I would say, incline bench press. The elbow has to go all the way like this. You know, you have to put it in the this on the upper bone of the chest. You have to do it very slowly with strong connection, muscle mind connection. I would recommend that you close your eyes when you're doing that, and that you fully focused on that muscle, and that you don't, I mean, you have to put some serious amount of weight, okay, but then again, not too much. The key is that you put your elbows properly, and that you know, that you, how can I say, go with the bar all the way. I don't know the word in English. What's this bone called? All the way, don't skip the movement, and then go all the way up and stretch it and squeeze it and kill that motherfucker. Do you understand? Kill that muscle, squeeze it, destroy it, and try to do it, you know, without looking, just that you're fully concentrated. It's not an easy muscle to develop, but if you do it properly, it can look really impressive. I mean, people usually only develop the lower chest. The upper one doesn't get developed so good. Linus Wilson, the question is, what's the easiest, least competitive contest to win a pro card worldwide? You know, honestly, I don't know. Honestly, I wouldn't go with that approach myself. I mean, back in the day when I was younger, 20 years ago, being a pro meant something. You know, today they're giving IBB pro cards on every contest, and they're giving 300 approximately. Now I don't want to shit and piss on the federation, but they're giving shitload of pro cards, okay? It's not like 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Back then, being a pro meant that you're something. You know, that was really, when a pro bodybuilder came to the gym, his aura, appearance, physique was so noticeable that even somebody who was first time there realized that this is a pro. You know, this is something came to the gym. Someone. Today everybody can be a pro. Unfortunately, not everyone, but it's much easier. But therefore, you know, your question, I mean, I think that you can better that you focus, that you come there as best as you can, and that you win that pro contest fair and square. And I'm pretty sure that you have everything that it takes in 2025 or 26 if you don't achieve this year, unless that your mindset is like, where is the easiest way to get a pro card? You know, honestly, bro, I don't think that that's the best mindset. Do you understand? I mean, this is like asking what's the easiest college to finish, where I don't have to study and learn anything and to get the best possible job later. Well, I will earn, I don't know, 6 figures per month. I mean, I would focus on improving your physique the best that it can be, and I guaranteed you that you can win your pro card in upcoming 2 years in the, I think it was men physiques category, right? That's your honest answer. But which one is the easiest? You know, it's simply, I think it's a wrong way to think about that way. T. Shetos, you said thank you for answering. I was asking about the deloads because my strength numbers have been going down. I could be overtrained. Yes, that I fully understand. I understand this approach. I understand, because it can be frustrating. Like, you're doing everything, you know, and simply the strength is not going up, it's going down, then what the fuck is going on, right? You know, I don't want to stop, maybe I should be deloading. What's the reason there? That I fully understand, brother. I would look what's there is some problem probably there. I don't know, are you natural or enhanced? If you're enhanced, then it's really a problem, and we have to see what's the problem. Every problem has a solution. Probably you are not sleeping enough, you're not taking enough of protein, or something else. And you know, it's there can be overtraining, but it's I didn't saw a lot of people who can overtrain. Again, I'm not saying that you are maybe not one of them who overtrained, but usually is the lack of something else. Okay? So I would focus on finding what's causing the problem that the strength is not going up and instead is going down. You know, there can be many factors. I mean, it can be mental, maybe something is draining your energy. Again, I don't know you, don't think this in a wrong way. Maybe somebody at your work, maybe boss, maybe wrong partner. Again, I don't know you, not saying don't want to get into your partnership or whatever, but you know, usually I know from my experience, if my strength was going down, there was some exterior factor, you know, just lowering the volume on my gym was not the solution. Again, unless you really, you know, an animal and you know, destroying that workout. From here, I don't know you, I don't know how you look, I don't know how you train. But again, the option number one is that you see what's the external factor, and the option number two is that you do, you know, with 50% light pump training for 2 weeks. But honestly, I mean, what the fuck is that? I mean, I would honestly, if I'm overtrained, I would leave everything for 2 weeks, but I never did that in my life. Or I would see what's the problem and I would fucking cut it off. Lyric Studio. You said, I noticed over 12 weeks I lost body fat and clothes are different. That's great. My weight is still the same, but I want to make sure that this continues and maybe a bit faster. Any advice? The advice is that this this message looks great. I'm really happy and proud of you. And the advice is that you don't change anything. I mean, in the last 12 weeks you lost body fat and clothes are different. That's amazing. I mean, how many people honestly are able to do that? 12 weeks goes like this. I mean, it looks maybe now like a huge, like a long period. I mean, 12 weeks, but 12 weeks goes like this, you know very well. So you did it in a really short amount of time, and if the weight is the same, that's brutally amazing. That means that you're doing body recomposition. That's fantastic. It cannot be any better, right? And I mean, you want to make sure that this continues. I mean, as long as it continues, don't change anything. Don't try to speed it up. You cannot lose, remember, more than 1 kilogram or 2 pounds of fat, real body fat per week. If you're losing more than that, you're not losing fat, you're losing muscle. You know, don't try to speed it up. Do this slowly but surely. That's my advice to you. Again, in 12 weeks, if you already see this, feel like this, why the fuck would you want to rush that? Are you in a hurry to go somewhere? I mean, I guarantee that everyone on this chat would like to have the same effect, and they don't. Not even I have that unless I'm really focused and super sharp what I'm doing. So just continue that, as long as it gives results. Let me see, did you wrote something else? Should I add cardio? Cardio, and you said thank you, I really appreciate, brother. Yes, cardio, you can always add cardio, but not to lose the fat faster. Cardio is also good, it increases the appetite, you can eat more, you lose fat, you give the proper health, treatment for your heart. Doing cardio is going to, make you live longer, you will feel much better. It's always good to add cardio. I would say hit cardio 20 minutes after every workout, but don't do cardio now to speed up the process, because you can overburn the whole process and later it can all go to hell, Add it, but normally, slowly, surely, don't rush fucking anywhere. That's the honest answer. Virgo the Batch told you congratulations. Exactly, this is my point exactly. Ride the wave, exactly. Always ride the wave. Shatus, advice for protein 1 gram per pound of body weight. Also, my favorite cycle, my favorite compounds. This is a very good question and hard question. I don't know, I don't have problems with opening myself. I'm very transparent here, but I don't want to give people the wrong advice, I don't want that somebody copies, so I have to really think how will I give this answer properly, okay? For as protein wise, I would say it's 2 grams per minimum. So if you're natural but you're not natural, right, since you're mentioning the cycle, enhanced 3 grams per kilogram. So how this is, per pounds is 1.5 per pound. I hope I said this correctly, right? It's 3 grams, it can even go, maybe you can also go 2 grams per pound without problem if you're enhanced. My favorite compounds and cycle, I'm not going to tell you milligrams, not because I have, problems with that, but I don't want that some kid later opens this, chat, and he sees and he says, okay, Boris takes that, I'm going to take that as well, okay? If you ever want to hear this from me, you can hire me as a personal coach, and then we can speak on the Zoom one-on-one about that, and there I can share with you, everything. But my favorite would only be testosterone propionate combined with primobolan, and of course pharma grade growth hormone. Only that. That's the my favorite cycle. If I decide to go on the stage, I would add masteron on that, also drostanolone dipropionate, the fast one. That's the favorite cycle that I'm not recommending to anyone, that I would personally take, okay? As I said, I'm sorry, but milligrams I don't want to speak about here because I don't want to fuck up somebody. Lyric Studio, you're very welcome. Appreciate, brother. Linus Wilson, I will be honest to you, I don't put clients on those compounds. I'm not doing that. So, I'm not a steroid guru. I know that, I know about myself, but I developed, empathy and moral compass, and I don't want to, I'm not a doctor, I have a lot of experience, but I want to say now, to put the clear border, that I'm not a doctor, and therefore I'm not giving those compounds to anyone. I can tell you what I would do, what I would take, but then again, I'm a super heavyweight, your man physique, it wouldn't fit for you. But I would never tell to anyone, okay, inject this and drink that and that, I don't see that this would be a proper way to coach anyone morality wise. Hope you understand. Does anyone know when is the Mr. Olympia coming contest? I didn't saw it. I think it's not far away. And who is your favorite competitor to win the title this year? If you people are following that. And of course you can ask me everything. If somebody has questions about the proper sleep, about supplements that they're supposed to be taken, diet, bulking, whatever, exercises, this is why we are here for. We just ask, please don't ask me about steroid cycles, because this is something that I do not want to do. Lyric Studio, the question is how long would you estimate for body recomposition take? So I'm not quite sure what's the question here. If the question is how long can the body recomposition take, I would say as long as you need it to take. I actually made, now I don't want to sound like I'm spamming and now telling you to go and go fuck yourself, watch one of my videos. This is not what I want to say, but there is actually a video that I made about that. I think it's called Forget Calorie Deficit. You don't want to watch it. If you find time to look for it, it wouldn't hurt you, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So as long as you have more than 10% of body fat, you can do the body recomposition. Just, I would say, roughly eat around 200 grams of protein per day, 300 grams of carbohydrates, of course the good ones, always eat clean, that's the key, and around 50 grams of fat, plus minus. Now I gave you roughly. If you're doing, look, listen, if you're doing something that works so far, forget this, do what worked for you, okay? But the answer to your question, if this was the question, how long it takes till it shows effect, as long as you have a fucking visible 6-pack or 8-pack. This is how long can you take it. Again, if you don't rush it. If you rush it, if you kill yourself mentally, or if you have a burnout, then it might stop. So the key is, as long as it's, going, just add here and there some wood on the fire, if you understand, so that it burns, that it doesn't shut down, but not that it overburns, because it goes to hell. So it can go as long as, forever. Do you understand? As long as you're doing it properly, as long as you're fully defined already. But then you can also do after that, if you, of course, God bless, achieve that point, then you can do a little bit of reverse dieting. But if you ever when you reach that point, contact me, and then I will tell you what to do afterwards. But just don't, fix yourself with some certain date, because this is going to destroy your progress for sure. I guarantee it. If you say, oh my god, now I have to look like that and that in this period of time, then it's all going to go to hell. As long as it's going, keep it, brother. Just do what you're doing. Don't fucking change anything. You said I will definitely watch it. Thank you, appreciate. It's really a good episode where I explained everything. I think it's called, Forget Calorie Deficit. It's written in red letters, it's really the easiest way how to not to starve, to feel great, and to lose up to 1 kilogram of fat, around 2 pounds of fat per week by adding muscle mass and by looking and feeling fantastic. Virgo the Butch, the question is, could you talk about progressive overload and when it's time to add reps? It's a really good question. I was thinking also to make an episode about that only, I think tomorrow. Then I was like, will I do it? Will I not do it? Then I was thinking to put it in today's episode, and I was like, maybe this is not a good idea, but since you mentioned it, I don't think that it's a material for episode, because people usually don't want to hear it, but it's a great question. I'm going to answer it. Reps, weights, and sets. Exactly. So the progressive overload is, how can I say? I think I actually did it. It's coming in today's episode. But that doesn't mean, I'm going to tell you, go and look at the episode. I'm going to explain you anyway. So you have 4 main principles how to do progressive overload, okay? Otherwise you won't grow. Doesn't matter how much protein are you taking, how much, not saying that you are, keep speaking hypothetically, how much steroids are you injecting. If you don't do progressive overload, you're not going to put muscle mass. It's as simple as that. It's the most important fucking factor, okay? You have to increase, there are 4 ways. You have to increase the reps, you have to increase the sets, you have to increase the weight, my most favorite, the manly one, maybe the most important, it is the most important, or to do better repetitions, to do them slower, with more focused, with more muscle-mind connection. But honestly, if you don't increase the reps, fuck it, you're not training like a man, you're not training properly. Again, this is not directed to you, addressed to you, I'm just trying to explain you in the best possible way. So those are those 4 methods, but the most important way is that you increase the weight, and that's again the topic for today episode that I'm going to do after this chat. So the second episode, don't go to the failure every time, but then again, how will you increase the weight if you don't go to the failure here and there? Do you understand? So find a spotter, try to get stronger, not every time, this is a huge mistake, but at least once a month. Let's say roughly, if you're doing bench press, it has to increase for at least 5 kilograms. Do you understand? And how will you know? Are you able to move that weight at least 6 times correctly? 5 kilograms more. If you don't have a spotter, you're not able to know that. The goal is not to go to the failure, but the failure might occur. So those are the 4 principles how to do progressive overload. I'm sure that this answers your questions. If you have any additional questions during this topic, feel free to ask me. This is why we are here now. Lyric Studio, you're very welcome. The question is, yes, you can touch on the reverse dieting. Of course, we can talk about this even now. Then you said it's the mental it's that mental tough. In my mind, I want to be lean quick, and I have to get past that thought. This is a mental issue. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you have mental issues, but pretty much everybody who goes to the gym has some kind of issues, the here and there, right, including me. Not in a negative way, but for example, I also have a lot of things that I'm working every day on. This is why one of my favorite hobbies is psychology. I always like to study my mind, what happened, why and there, why I reacted like that, so I know exactly what means when you want to get lean very fast, and there is nothing bad about that, okay? But you have to understand that this way of thinking is just going to fuck you up, as I was explaining. Therefore, don't do that. Do it slowly, as we said. And reverse dieting is pretty much, I'm going to tell you roughly, because I don't want to flood you now with shitload of informations. You have to increase the carbs and the calories slowly every week, bit by bit. When you finish the diet, when you say, okay, now it's enough, I just want to increase the calories without putting fat. And the key is to increase, let's say, roughly 50 grams of carbs every week, until you see that you feel good, that you full, that you round, and that you don't gain fat, And then we have to simply stop at one point where you feel good, when you feel full, and where you're not gaining fat. But this is a process that's lasting about maximum 2 months, and then you can eat really a lot, not gaining fat, gaining only muscles, and feeling fantastic. But this has to be done really precisely. I mean, this is a process I give you in the rough guidelines. This is something that I cannot give you like this from the sleeve, and that we find the solution to the problem immediately. I mean, this is a solution to the problem, but it's also a process. This is not something that can be explained in few sentences as some rough guide manual, because it's you have to, for example, I would have to follow you to see how you respond, to see how you train, to see how you sleep. I mean, there are 1 million of factors, plus everybody reacts differently, but definitely nothing that you cannot overcome, since you're progressing amazing so far. You are very welcome. Lord Jim, you said great channel, Boris, highly underrated. I'm sure it will pick up. Respect and the best wishes from the north. Lord Jim, thank you a lot. It's not highly underrated. I'm going to explain you very quickly. I mean, I just started my channel a few months ago, and there is, way that you people, of course, don't care about, but there is a way how, until the algorithm actually finds you, and then it spreads you all over, because the competition is very high. So for the first few months, nobody was watching my content, not because I was that bad, but because the YouTube algorithm wants to see the consistency. And when you're fully consistent, when you're giving your videos oftenly, then it spreads you all over to the people that would actually like to see your content. And during these first few months, the YouTube algorithm is also, learning who your viewers are. And then, when the YouTube found you people, then it started showing you my content, because he realized that you're the people who would like to actually see and hear what I have to say. So it will spread for sure, but this is not something that happens overnight, because I really want to build my content on high quality information that can help you people, so that there is a win-win effect for both sides. That I develop a good brand that actually has some kind of value, not that I give you videos, how to look 20 times bigger in 2 weeks, or 6 weeks challenge that doesn't exist. And this I don't know if powder works better than, I don't know, any protein that was invented so far that has been found in extract of some kind of cheese, who knows where. I don't want to give you that kind of viral bullshit, that are mostly clickbait. I really want to provide you the value and the information that's only going to help you and solve problems. Thank you anyway, I really appreciate. T. Shetos, you ask what work best for you to grow your arms? Great question. The best way that helped, that really had a huge impact for me to grow my arms, because I'm 6.4, that's 193 centimeters, so I'm very tall, especially for bodybuilding. If somebody knew this Canadian bodybuilder that unfortunately passed away, was called Greg Kovacs, we're the same height. Of course, I was not as big as he was at my prime, but I'm at the same height, so it was not so easy for me to develop big arms. The best way that helped me to develop my arms was having a separate arm day, honestly. To fully focus on arms, the most important thing was to do triceps before the biceps, because if the biceps is full, it's not able to pump the arms aren't able to squeeze and to stretch and to pump the triceps correctly. So therefore I always do triceps and then biceps and then forearms. Basic movements, basic exercises, but then again I was not natural, so I did a lot of dropping sets, supersets. I had a really good coach that was my training partners, that really knew back then how to train arms properly, and I'm really happy because I had him. He really showed me how to train my arms properly. So as I said, the most important thing is to kill them one day only for arms. Dropping sets, supersets, that's what worked for me, and to feed them properly before training, during the training, and after the training. So I especially when I am doing arm training, I had a pre-workout meal, during workout meal, post-workout meal. This is something that I really feel really helps to put, not only when you're doing arms, but I really kind of feel that the arms are getting way better pumped than anything else when you're feeding them properly and destroying them properly on every workout, on their own, separate workout. Linus Wilson, the question from you is GLP-1 are semi-glutid, Monjaro, Ozempic. Okay, they're appetite suppressant. I don't think you prescribe them. Okay, I know what those are. I thought you have spoken to many folks who use them. They're not steroids. I know what Ozempic is. Okay, I'm going to give you an honest answer. And women who are not bodybuilders who also, you dated, have you GLP-1s? Lol. Okay, listen, it's a really good question. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm going to give you my personal opinion. I think that, again, first of all, if you are in this sport, and if, being hungry when you are preparing for the contest is, by my opinion, something that separates you from the rest of the mortals. How to put it like that. And this is a privilege, to be able to get defined on the level that other people are not able to do, normally. You know, this is what makes you a proper bodybuilder. Doesn't matter in which category are you. And these days, you know, and before, I mean, people are only related to drugs. I mean, what to take you know, they're only focused on the cycles, and there are all kind of cycles today that you can find on internet that you were not able to find 20 years ago. But then again, the result is that people look shittier than ever. I know a shitload of people who take Ozempic. I never took it. I will never take it. My personal opinion is that it's going to it's not a good thing. I'm going to tell you like this, you know, it's not a good thing. It can cause a lot of side effects. You can get a lot of weight when you stop using it. You can also, as I said, it causes a lot of side effects. I don't want to speak about this, you know, publicly on my open chat. I don't recommend it. I mean, if somebody doesn't have guts, now I'm not telling that you are not that, but if somebody cannot squeeze it all the way and get ripped without shitload of drugs, then he is not supposed to be a bodybuilder. Being hungry is part of doing competitive sport. If for somebody the diet is hard, he's not supposed to, you know, do this sport. You understand? So this is definitely not something that I would recommend. I mean, when you start dieting, it's completely normal that the body adapts from time to time, and later the diet is not that hard. But I mean, I know some crazy people who were also doing diet on amphetamines and shit, and they look like shit. I mean, this is again, the point of doing bodybuilding is that not only you look good, but that you are healthy to an extent, as much as you can possibly be. But you know, if you're injecting fucking 50 compounds, then I think that whoever does that, you know, is doing the wrong sport. Unfortunately, I'm not a hypocrite. Yes, I did took anabolic steroids. I'm right now on TRT, but you know, I try to do them as low as possible. You know, this is the path that I've chose, unfortunately. But when I decided to take them, I was already competing in my late teenage years. So it's kind of semi-approved, not fully approved, but semi-approved. But if somebody, you know, cannot do his diet and he wants to compete, then I honestly think that he's not for this sport. That's the honest answer. I mean, this is like, I want to be a doctor, but I don't want to go to the college and I don't want to study. And what's the best drug for concentration? I mean, nothing, you know, then don't do it. Do something else, you know. This, again, it's nothing personal. I don't think that this has anything to do with you, but I'm just going to give you the honest opinion what I think about it. I mean, everybody that I know who took shitload of stuff at the end up their career very quickly, and you can do the research on the internet. A lot of them who went, you know, following this mindset and road also died, especially in the last 5 years. More is not better. The bodybuilders who looked the best in the 80s, 90s didn't took a lot. Neman Goyal, hi to you too. The question is, should I gain muscles and I didn't able to complete my protein intake, workout 6 times per week, so you train 6 times per week. Should I gain muscles and I didn't able to complete my protein intake? Not quite sure what the question is. Workout 6 times per week, I think so. It's too much even if you're not natural, so reduce this to 4 or 5 times for the start. The question is, should I gain muscles and I'm not able to complete my protein intake? So if you're not able to complete your protein intake and you're training already 6 times a week, this is a recipe for disaster. So the answer for your doubting is, you must increase the protein intake and reduce your training to 4 to 5 times per week. T-Shakes, your favorite bodybuilder from the past and favorite current physique. Phew, really hard question. My favorite bodybuilder from the past, I would say Sergio Oliva. Sergio Oliva, definitely, from the past, especially how he looked in the 60s. I mean, he was called the Myth for a reason. Nobody ever looked like that, and nobody ever will. I mean, and he did everything wrong. I mean, who am I to say that, right? He did everything wrong. He didn't took pretty much anything steroid wise, and he still look like that. I mean, I'm a huge fan and admirer, and I think Sergio Oliva all the way. But then again, there were also other amazing bodybuilders from the past. You know, I mean, we cannot ever forget Arnold. I mean, Arnold in 75 in pumping iron look brutally amazing. You know, then again also Louis Ferrigno, who was never Mr. Olympia. I think if he didn't made that break when Arnold retired, he could definitely had. I think this Louis Ferrigno is definitely the uncrowned Mr. Olympia. After Arnold, if he continue in the Frank Zane era, he would be Mr. Olympia. Serge Numbre look fantastic. I mean, even Frank Zane looked amazing when he was competing. So, but I would say Sergio Oliva. And favorite current physique. This is a brutally hard question. Favorite current physique. The honest answer would be nobody. Nobody. I saw the latest guest posing from Samson Dauda, and he positively surprised me. He looks really great, you know, also aesthetic wise. But then again, you know, even when he won Mr. Olympia, I would say that this is not hard and crisp enough for being Mr. Olympia. So this component, you know, this point of him is not as where it is supposed to be, from my opinion. I mean, who am I to say anything about Samson Dauda? But he looked really nice on the last guest posing. But is there somebody that I would really say, wow, you know, he looks really amazing? Unfortunately not. I have to say that I still am, but he's not competing. I was a really huge fan of Brandon Curry, especially on that year when he won, but I was following him even 10 years before he won, and even more 12 years, and for me he was really, really good looking, you know, bodybuilder with really pleasant shape, even that his legs and calves are a little bit, you know, smaller than they're supposed to be, and he was not as crispy as he's supposed to be, but definitely I liked to look at him, and he definitely looks like Mr. Olympia is supposed to look. Pizza time. The question is, Boris, I please need your advice. I've been on aggressive cut, eating high protein breakfast and lots of cardio, but not much weights. I didn't lose any weight this week. Advice. Then from you again, I can give you more info if needed. Then again, I'm not having rice bread. If so, then twice a week max, but prioritizing veggies. Been having a lot of fruit. Would really appreciate guidance. Thank you, bro. You know, unfortunately, this is not a lot of advice. Don't know how old are you. I don't know how are you training. I know nothing about you. Okay. So, but I can tell you, if you lost no weight this week, this means nothing. Maybe you're in body recomposition, you actually gained some muscle, and you look better than you look last week. So just losing weight on the scale means nothing. So don't freak out, just take it easy. There are shitload of factors that can be involved here. Don't overkill yourself with cardio. You said eating high protein breakfast. You should be eating high protein lifestyle, not only breakfast, you know. Just breakfast is not enough. No, I'm not saying that you're only eating it for the breakfast, but you have to, you know, you have to eat it 24 hours. And don't overkill yourself. Just take it easy. Again, see what's going to happen next week. You know, there are also weeks when people here are not, I made a video about that. I'm not addressing you to go and see this video. It's called, I think, signs that you're making progress. So the scale can be the same for the months, but the physique, the body can look completely different. That's what counts. Not only how did you lost weight on the scale. Take it easy, bro, and you'll get there. Naaman Goyal, does cardio do fat loss as well as muscle loss? It's a very, very good question. I mean, look, you know, cardio is good for fat loss, of course. It's not going to burn muscle. But if you're not eating enough protein, if you're not training hard in the gym, if you're not doing progressive overload, then you can burn your muscles even by not going to the gym, by doing nothing. Do you understand? So cardio by itself won't burn muscle, but it's important that you have at least 200-300 grams of protein for daily intake, and then you won't lose any muscle. But don't freak out that doing cardio is going to get you into the catabolism mode. No, definitely not. I mean, it's important what you put in, much more than how you train or do cardio. It's also very important, but be sure that you put proper nutrients inside of your body and you won't lose any muscle. And then you ask how much protein per pound I should take as a natural and a beginner. If you're a beginner, per pound, I would say it's 1 gram. It's 1 gram per pound if you're natural. And as a beginner, of course. But if you're a beginner, just, you know, start with a normal split. I would suggest, I mean, I don't know, have you been training before? Try doing old school split. I have a video about that, not that I'm addressing you now, go and look my video, but try to find a good split that works for you. Eat clean, eat a lot, do cardio after every session. I would suggest HIIT cardio, the faster one, that's only 20 minutes, and you will see your body changes. You won't lose any muscle by doing cardio. Don't freak about that. I can promise you that. Pizza time. The question is, oh sorry, my body fat was 22.1% last week. Didn't budge after a week. Lot of running, weight wise 72 kilograms. Yeah, I don't know, just feel like going crazy. I want to get better, but I gotta eat to live. But I'm not sure, you know, are you hungry? You know, if you're hungry, I made an episode about that. It's called, a few days ago, it says forget calorie deficit, something like that. And that there I calculated everything how you're supposed to eat so that you lose fat and that you don't starve and that you don't feel hungry. and that you don't train a lot. You know, you have to train 4 times per week, to do cardio only 20 minutes after that, and you will lose pound to 2 pounds every week, you know. So if you're starving, that already means that your body is, the metabolism slowed down, that you're doing an extreme and your body is crashing and you're not having progress. I would suggest that you have a proper cheat meal today if you're really going into that mindset with clean food. Don't now eat some shit. I mean, your nickname is pizza time, so don't do pizza time today, okay? Just eat clean and decent heavy meal with clean eating, you know what that is. And then I would highly suggest that you look at some of my videos and you will find your answer there. And you know, you can ask me whatever you want here till the live chat is open, and I will be glad to answer you everything. As well as I'm here, I'm going to do this live chat every Sunday, as long as I have time and energy to do that. So you said no, not hungry. Thing is, I used to obese. I understand, and I'm terrified I'll get hungry. I'll binge to go back where to being fat. I'll check out that video. So first of all, I want to tell you that this is a mental issue, not a physical issue. And when I say mental issue, I don't want to disrespect you or to pull you down. I will be brutally honest to you. I also have a professional mental therapist that I'm, you know, looking his videos every day, and that I'm having live sessions with him whenever I have something that I cannot overcome by myself. So, you know, not telling you now that you have to find a therapist if you don't want that. I'm just telling you that I have a therapist. It's nothing wrong about it, and that there are some things that we are not able to overcome by ourselves. You know, everybody has that. It's completely normal. Nobody's perfect. I think it's a huge strength if you admit that you cannot solve something by yourself, that you find somebody who can help you. I mean, I can help you as an amateur. I'm not a professional psychologist, okay, who can give you an advice. But you know, if you have been obese, and if you think that, you know, oh my God, now if I don't lose, you know, numbers on the scale every week, you know, I'm going to freak out, then, you know, do you understand? It's not the problem in your approach. It's some complex or trauma that you're, again, I'm not a doctor to give advice about that. I'm going to tell you this from my amateur perspective, how I see it. You have to work on that issue, do you understand? Or on that challenge. I don't want to call it an issue, and that's nothing wrong about that, you know. But as I said, so far from what you're saying, you're doing everything wrong. Pardon, I'm sorry. You're doing everything right. Just don't freak out, you know, because this is going to kill your progress. Too much worrying is increasing the cortisol. This can I tell you, bodybuilding coach wise. The stress hormone is going to kill your progress. You're going to retain shitload of water, and it might be water from when, you know, when you're non-stop like, oh my God, did I lost weight on the scale? Then the weight doesn't go down. When you're like, I'm going to take it slowly but surely, then the weight is going to drop, you know. It's really good that you admitted that this is something that's worrying you. Just take it easy. It's going to go down. And just look at some of my videos. I think you pretty much have all the answers there. And feel free to ask whatever you want till now when the chat is still running on. Neyman Goyal, you said 4 months of training following push-pull legs, increased intensity to failure and decreased volume. 4 months, you said you were beginner, okay. Push-pull legs is good. You can also do that. I don't do push-pull legs because, you know, I'm a bodybuilder. I do this old school split, but Push-pull X is kind of sweet spot. I cannot say anything negative about that. It has a little bit of muscle overlap there, but for somebody who is a beginner, if you like it, don't change it, and don't go to failure every time. You know that this is something that I definitely don't recommend. Don't go to failure every time. Everything else is okay so far. Lyric Studio, you said I gotta go, but I love the content, bro. Thank you for much again for advice. May God bless you. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate it. Have a great day. Pizza Time, you say thanks so much for the honesty, and I agree 100%. Boris, I recently discovered your channel, so I'm really thankful. Managed to grab some advice. Only thing I have to binge this week is your videos. Much love. Thank you a lot. I appreciate everything. As I said, this is not redirection to my videos, but you will find everything there. And just look your recommendation tab when you get into my channel, what the YouTube is recommending, you know. Because you know all those, how can I say, algorithms are connected, your Google account, your chat GPT, so pretty much the YouTube algorithm knows already, trust me or not, better than you what you're struggling with, and it's going to recommend you the proper video. And you can find really a lot of answers there, because you know my goal was to give the best possible honest advice that I can, and I always will do that as long as I'm doing my channel, and of course improving my knowledge that I'm planning to do as long as I'm alive. Pizza Time, you said for sure. I've been watching a lot of Renaissance periodization videos with Dr. Mike. Yeah, he's very educational but a bit odd. Well, you know, I don't know him personally, plus his channel is much older than mine. I saw some of his videos and recommendations. I can say, you know, he is very educational, you know, but I personally have a completely different style and approach. You know, I don't want to sound like a science expert that is going to give you some advices that you're not being able to understand, and that I personally don't believe in, you know. As I said, I like to be more straight on the point and to help people without actually confusing them. pizza time, be sure that you sleep properly. I can give you that as a proper tip. Sleeping is also very important for fat loss. I mean, if your body is non-stop in flight or fight mode, if you know what that is, you won't be able to lose fat properly. Actually, the fat goes the best down when the body is relaxed and recovering, and therefore I would definitely recommend sleeping supplements, and those natural supplements, if you have issues with sleeping, and those are melatonin, slow releasing 10 milligrams, that's really a game changer. GABA, aminobutyric amino acid, that's really relaxing the whole system, up to 1.5 gram. And on the top of that I would add 1 gram or 1000 milligrams of magnesium. And I would, if you wake up during the night, I would repeat the melatonin, at least maybe 1 milligram of melatonin, maybe 200 milligrams of GABA, and I wouldn't take magnesium. And that way you will be able to sleep for at least 8 hours per night, and you will lose fat also when you're sleeping, because if you're only mentally running and going on the scale 50 times per day, that I also had episodes like that, not really like that, but similar when I was younger. I know very well what that is, and then the weight doesn't go down, on the contrary, it even goes up. You see, you just wrote, damn, I only get like 3 hours sleep at night. If you're sick, then lucky, don't have trouble of going to sleep, but I didn't know that. You see, that's really, really important. So as I said, I will write you the cocktail here. Melatonin, 10 milligrams slow of GABA, yes. I just write you the killer combo that's completely natural, and that's going to increase your sleep. 5 hours is one of the reasons why your fat burning is not going as you would want. It's nothing. So 8 hours is the lowest minimum that you have to do. Try this cocktail and your sleep will be 10 times better. Federico Garcia. Hi Boris, in my gym the max dumbbells are 65. So this is like 30 kilograms, right? And I really master them for incline and regular bench press. Should I change my gym or increase the sets? Thanks. Brutally honest, change the gym. And increasing the sets is, if your goal is maximum hypertrophy and putting on muscle size, definitely, fuck that gym and change the gym when they have manly dumbbells as well as the other weights. This is not enough. Change the gym. Find the gym where you can find those damn strong dumbbells. Pizza time, you're very welcome. Pizza time, as I said, if you wake up, then just take 1 milligram of melatonin every time when you wake up, and maybe 200 milligrams of GABA, so not the full dosage. This is completely natural, nothing's going to fuck you up, and take that and go back to the sleep. For example, if you wake up anyway after 5 hours while drinking that, just repeat it, but with four times smaller dosage, and then you will be able to grab much more sleep. And I also take this every night, because without proper sleep you will feel like shit. People don't understand that. I mean, if you want to burn fat and build fucking muscles, you have to go to sleep. You have to sleep. If you don't sleep, this is more important than training itself. The body cannot repair itself. The cortisol and the dopamine, nothing can function properly. You have to sleep. Get 8 to 10 hours even of sleep on the weekend. Do these natural supplements, and you will see that you will wake up lighter without water. I guarantee you, without water, because when you non-stop like, did I lost weight? You understand, the body is in the stress mode. It's not going to lose fat, because the body doesn't know, especially if you have if you had problem with obesity, do you really want to look fat or healthy, or are you dying and starving? You understand? So you have to send the signal the body, okay, when we are training and doing cardio during the day, we're training, we're killing it. But when we're resting, we're resting. You cannot be non-stop in the fight, flight, or freeze mode 24 hours. It's impossible to lose fat that way. Take those supplements. They're fantastic. You can order them also online. Don't forget to drink also a lot of water pizza time. So it's also very important for fat loss. Drink a lot of water, especially during the training. And I will tell you, the most important ingredient is that you don't go on the scale every day. Forget the scale, look yourself only once a week. And don't be obsessed with the scale, because it will destroy you mentally completely. You can destroy yourself mentally by looking at the scale. It's not going to help. Just do everything properly, and then the scale will do its job anyway. I understand. Two liters a day should be minimum. Never go below that. Drink as much water as you can. And I said twice a week is okay, but don't be obsessed with the scale, because I know very well what that means. You're doing everything properly. You're doing your cardio. You're doing your gym sessions. You're counting your calories and everything, and the scale simply isn't showing the results, and that's the wrong way to do it. Focus on your progress, don't focus on scale. As I said, you will just go crazy. What is your age? Look, it's not bizarre. I believe that you're doing everything. I trust you. 36 is still young, of course, and as you said, counting calories in deficit, as I said, you said not eating junk food, cardio, weights, water, and my body says no, bro. So as I said, probably you slowed down your metabolism to its max. Look at the episode that I mentioned, some others, and you will get there on point. Probably it's not that you're not doing enough. From what I'm reading, you're doing too much, so it's actually being counterproductive. First of all, we found the problem: you're not sleeping enough, and you're overkilling yourself, and your body's already in survival mode. Do you understand? So the body, as I said, doesn't know, are you trying to get healthy and fit? The body thinks, unfortunately, that you're dying, and it's not letting fat go. You have to send the signal to the body that you're doing everything properly, that it's not in survival mode, and that way it will be able to lose fat, trust me. Federico Garcia, you ask, Boris, do you think that when the soreness is over in the muscle, it's time to hit that muscle again or wait one more day? This is a really good question. I mean, if you made a break and if you are not training, if you had a break, maybe you were injured or you simply made a break, you didn't have time or opportunities to go to the gym, then the muscle soreness can take a lot of periods of time until it goes away, right? So it's not a good parameter should you do that body part again if it still hurts. Then you shouldn't be trust the muscle soreness. But then again, also there are some body parts like biceps that most likely you don't feel muscle soreness ever. Correct me if I'm wrong. And by that theory, you could do biceps every day, right? And this is also wrong. So, I would say that, as I was mentioning also in one of my videos, but I'm going to tell you here again, until the body repairs the broken tissue, it takes 3 full days. And for body recomposition, super compensation, the Mike Menser's method that I like, you need another 2 days, so that would be 5 days. So the answer for your question is if you feel muscle soreness or not, after 5 days you are able to hit it again, unless it really hurts. But there is no way that it can hurt so much, I mean, that you have muscle soreness after 5 days, unless you did some brand new exercise that your body never, faced before, if you understand, or unless you made a huge break. So this is an honest answer to your question. After 5 days, if it hurts or not, you can hit it again. Pizza time, I'm really glad that I helped. The name of the video is, I think, Forget the Calorie Deficit. This is the name of the video, Forget Calorie Deficit. It's one of the brand new videos. That's it for today, people. I have to go. We see each other next time. Thank you. Thank everybody who was participating. Love you all. See you next time. All the best. Have a great afternoon. Bye.